No intros for you today.
What happened? I was
just a normal intro
during the intro.
hey.
There's plenty.
I didn't have anything that I really liked, and I'm sitting here like, what do I want to put on there?
What about that Mandami impersonator? Didn't you like him?
I like him, but I'm not going to do it every time in an impersonation.
He's a different guy. This is two different guys. He was really.
Yes. Today he was Tucker and Marjorie Taylor Greene.
That guy who did Mandami.
Wait. Well, Ami, who we have last week.
There's another guy. I sent you a link to a video of a guy who does Mandami, and I thought, holy crap, these people who are right on this thing now. Okay. This is not the guy we had last week. This is a guy just does Mandami brilliantly.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought you might roll with that because the guy was, holy crap, did he nail it?
I don't know. I'll look for it. We'll share it.
Okay, but if you find it, it's really cool because he does all the coding that Mandami does with his different voices. And I went, what a great idea for an impersonation. He's impersonating the various voices, like Hillary being
code switching.
The code switching. Yeah, he does the code switching. I've never seen an impersonator do that before. I mean, quite hip.
Well,
I've never heard of any of these guys. I mean, these guys are spot on, bro. The guy last week, fantastic.
No, I agree. I mean, I'm glad because mockery hopefully can.
Well, there's two things.
Light on
imitation is the best form of flattery, and then mockery is also one of the great devices to attack someone if you're going to do an impersonation of them.
Well, yeah, and that's why we discussed before. I mean, the very first time I had you on, I believe, we were talking about, chuckles in the Soviet Union, that you don't have the club because they destroy that. They hate mockery. Mockery cuts through any kind of message. So, boom.
Larry Charles did this thing, Larry Charles's Dangerous World of Comedy, where it was like 4 episodes on Netflix a couple of years ago. It's kind of crazy, but he tries to see what comedy is like in dangerous parts of the world, which is a great idea. But when you're seeing a guy with his face blown off doing comedy in Afghanistan, the actual working of the show is hard to watch. You know what I mean? But I had this idea years ago, and when I meet Larry Charles, I want to talk to him about it, of doing the Lenny Bruce of fill in the blank. In other words, finding the funniest guy in every country. Like who is your top comic? And that was my idea for a docuseries of just going not to the most dangerous places, but who is the funniest guy of your country? Fill in the blank, as I called it, the Lenny Bruce of blank. And I thought that would be a much better idea than what he did. He's got cannibals in there who are eating hearts in Nigeria, war-torn Nigeria areas where they're eating each other and they're doing comedy about, I mean, it's just the craziest thing, but it's unwatchable. Great idea, unwatchable in practice.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And you made me think there's a guy, God, I feel bad. I forgot his name. He's from Albania. Yeah. And he's now a regular on Kill Tony.
Right.
But he's talked about that too. Oh, he's in a weird spot. He's like, there's 5 comedians in all of Albania. And I know all of them. It's like this weird little.
This was 15 years ago when I was, with William Morris. And I said, I'd like to do this as a show. And it came from these guys like Johnny Yoon, who came out of, who was the top, it came out of ethnic comedy, but I wanted to reverse it. Like Yakov Smirnov was this Russian guy, but I wanted to go to the country and find the guy, not the ones that came here and created an ethnic act. That's not what I was looking for. I wanted to go, to Morocco and find a guy who's the funniest guy in Morocco. I mean, there's got to be a guy, there's got.
Sure. Yeah. Or just to study their humor, period. Because
that's really what I wanted.
Some of the Soviet humor, like that's been written is really dark, but very funny. It's like, okay. But
anyway, he kind of did his own version of it. But here's the thing. Okay, cool.
Zor, Mom Donnie, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm just picking up trash off the floor.
What do you think about the rent prices?
Rents have become astronomical and are pushing everyday hardworking Americans out of their homes.
What's your message to the Indian community?
The rent prices are way too high. Very big problem.
What about the black community?
I come all the way here from Uganda and they shut off my water because I don't pay. Why?
No, the African American community.
Man, I just feel like they tripping on the prices. They trying to price gouge. You know what the landlords be doing, but I ain't worried about it. I'm still Zoran Mamdani, man.
What about Gen Z?
So I understand it's not about the rent increases, but it's the feelings associated with the rent increases. And therefore, we're going to give them free therapy.
What's up with all the accents?
So it's actually called code switching, and I'm way better at it than Kamala Harris.
Dude,
And yes, he is.
dude, he's really good, Eric.
Oh my. No, it's funny because I did have another one where they did show him actually doing it. The
Right.
original guy.
Oh, the
With
original guy. Yeah, I've seen some of those, but this guy's making a
Wow.
career out of it now. Holy crap, is that cool?
Good. I definitely want to have more of them.
Well, just while we're talking about this guy for a second, it turns out he didn't become a United States citizen until 5 minutes ago. I did not know that. It's 2018 or something. He becomes a naturalized citizen, and now you become the mayor. There's got to be some sort of time limit, Eric. I mean, what if it's 2 weeks ago? I mean, you're talking about 4 or 5 years ago, the guy became a U.S. citizen. I mean, there's got to be some limit. I mean, you can't just have somebody come here on vacation and become the governor of Illinois.
That's true. Well, I don't know. Maybe Viva can hurry it up and he can become a governor of Florida.
Right. I mean, look, what's his name now? Jim Jordan has put a bill on the floor to put limits on congressional. Nobody who's not born here on congressional and presidential, which it already has. So that bill's on the floor of the House right now that Jim Jordan has put down, and that would cover U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives and the presidency, which is already covered. What I'm talking about is states and cities and governorships where people come in 5 minutes later, they are running for mayor of the biggest city in the world. And apparently, according to the case that's now being presented to the DOJ, Mamdani Omar is another one, obviously. Yeah. Mamdani broke the law by lying on his application in 2018 by saying he was not part of any left-wing organizations or any right-wing organizations or any political organizations, and he was already a member of the Democratic Socialists of America, which now most people are urging us to remove the word Democrat because it's meaningless and deceptively intentional to hide the socialist part of the Democratic Socialists of America. So he lied about his membership on that application, Eric, in 2018.
I kind of would agree with that. But by the way, other people that need to look out, who aren't citizens, are good old Elon wants to start it back up with Trump.
You want to explain this to me? He wants to start a third party.
Yeah.
I mean, besides this, I mean, he has come out with this.
He's going to support Massey, so that's a way to get right at Trump and stick a dagger in. And now Trump's talking about, well, you know what? We might have to look at deporting Elon.
Wait a minute, that's a great idea. I mean, if he's talking about starting a third party after Trump has essentially started a third party, which is MAGA, this would be a fourth party and would create complete chaos, I believe.
Or fifth or sixth. I mean, you've got the Green Party, you've got Libertarians, you've got the whatever party Cornel West was on. He kind of floated across a couple. So there's like 5 parties right now, isn't there? So.
Well, I'm saying parties of influence, not just random name parties. I mean, you got Republicans, Democrats. You've got something out there. The DSA is out there with membership, the Democratic Socialists of America, which is real. And then you've got MAGA, which is probably 2/3 of the Republican Party or some measure. Right. I'm saying
and that's really the only way to pull it off is to move a party because I honestly, I kind of look at it and roll my eyes. Yes, I know Elon has more money than sense, but I think it's been shown he's not very good at spending it politically. Now, when he did lump with Trump, it helped, obviously, because there was something there. But what happened in Wisconsin? Remember, Elon Musk
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
about
Yeah.
the same amount of money as he did for
Yeah.
Trump,
Yeah.
and it went nowhere. None of the Republicans won, and they got their asses clocked. It was not even close. So it's just because you've got so much money.
The bill's passed. What's he going to do now? Where does he go now?
Exactly.
Like, what do you do now? You just go back to rocket ships, and you don't get involved in politics anymore. I mean, the stuff that he did to USAID was brilliant. Apparently, so brilliant that Bono had to write a poem and start weeping with Bill Clinton and George Bush weeping next. Bush and Obama weeping next to him about the demise of USAID. I thought this was a joke. I never seen anything like this. I mean, he came on Joe Rogan and started talking about tens of thousands of people possibly dying from USAID having its money cut off, and Rogan politely listened to him because he was it was one of his heroes, and he's worth $700 million, by the way. This piece of shit right here from Ireland, and he listened to Rogan listened to him politely, and when he was done, Rogan explained everything he learned from Mike Benz and everything he learned about USAID and clearly laid it out to Bono what has been happening with USAID. He didn't know anything about it. He's never heard of it. He just said people are going to die because they cut off the funding. And Rogan politely, and he said, I'm being polite because you're one of my heroes. If it was anybody else, Rogan would have ripped the guy's head off. But now he's written a poem, started crying about the demise of USAID, possibly far worse than the Central Intelligence Agency in terms of damage it's done internationally and politically and the arm of overthrowing the government. This is a little segment, I guess, right?
Yeah. Recent report. It's not proven, but the surveillance enough suggests 300,000 people have already died from just this cut off, this hard cut of USAID. So there's food rotting in boats, in warehouses. There is this will fuck you off. This will not, you will not be happy. No American will, but there is, I think it's 50,000 tons of food that are stored in Djibouti, South Africa, Dubai, and wait for it, Houston, Texas. And it is rotting.
Yeah,
it makes me think. You remember Pace Picante sauce? New York City.
Did you see what's going on in Texas with the Muslims down there? I mean, holy cow, is it going?
Well,
crazy.
they have a community they were trying to set up as their own thing.
Somebody put out a video of thousands of them beating themselves on the chest in the middle of Austin somewhere. I mean, just a terrifying video. Looking at these guys, I don't know what they're doing religiously other than chest pounding. But boy, oh boy, did it look like it was the middle of Mecca. And it was, I looked and I clicked on the article and it was freaking Texas, the largest growing mosque state in the country. A number of mosques opening is the state of Texas. It's just crazy what's going on down there.
Well, I mean, just because we think of Texas, the state being red. Yeah. Keep in mind that Texas has Houston, has Austin. It was great. I was actually watching or listening to a guy who does a show called like Podcast Cringe, and he just kind of reacts to the Rogan sphere, all the comedians and stuff. And apparently they're all bitching about Austin and what a shithole it is. And they're like, they moved there because Joe Rogan is selling them, it's Shangri-La. And they got there and they're like, I feel threatened. One guy was on with Rogan. He's like, I am scared for my life. I've got this homeless guy chasing me around. I've got this, I've got that. And then Joe's like, yeah, but California, blah, 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 blah. And it's just kind of funny because
Eric, I've had friends who you don't know who did the same thing, who moved to Austin, then tried to work on me to do it. I resisted all of their crazy, and I've been to Austin a bunch of times, but I resisted their siren call, and now some of them are moving back.
Well, I've heard like that South by Southwest is a disaster now.
Total disaster.
I mean, the whole city's completely overrun. It is San Francisco. Of Texas. Remember the poop maps in San Francisco? I guess they'll have the Austin version.
Yeah, but this thing with the Muslims, keep in mind, the Muslims are not far left. if they're religious fanatics of the right, really. If you want to put them somewhere on a spectrum, outside of Plano, they were building this Muslim city, which apparently Abbott may or may not have put the kibosh on.
Women should be very happy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is not left-wing stuff. I mean, Mamdani is, because his mother's Indian, but Hollywood, and the father is a complete anti-Semitic professor up at Columbia, anti-Israel, anti-Semite. So he's got both of, he's like a secular Muslim, but a communist combo, if that makes any sense.
As a matter of fact, I've got a clip I saw of him with, just showing him in the background. And is the dude gay? I may make it. He can't have any more things hyphenated. Because I'm just saying that there's a quality to him, if you will, that I'm going, I don't know about this. So, hold on. I've got this clip with Trump reacting to talking about Mamdani today. And just look at him.
New York City. Your beloved New York City may well be led by a communist soon, Zoran Mamdani, who in his nomination speech said he will defy ICE and will not allow ICE to arrest criminal aliens in New York City. Your message to communist Zoran Mamdani?
Well, then we'll have to arrest him. But we don't need a communist in this country, but if we have one, I'm going to be watching over him very carefully on behalf of the nation. We send him money. We send him all the things that he needs to run a government. And by the way, they get about 3 times what you get, Ron. If you look at the per capita, Florida gets 1/3 of what New York gets in terms of the number. Ideally, he's going to turn out to be much less than a communist, but right now he's a communist.
It sounds like he's conceding because he knows the numbers in New York. Instead of working on getting him out of the country, Trump seems to be conceding the city to him with Wall Street and with everything else, with Trump Tower, to this guy. They've already got Muslim police patrols in the city with police cars that look exactly like NYPD cars, with Muslims with beards dressed like New York City police with badges going around the city to deal with incidents. Again, I know they had a similar situation with these Muslim patrols in the Somalia neighborhoods of Minneapolis, but this thing, whoa, when you look at their police cars, they look just like New York City police cars with the lights, blue and white, with their own logo on the side. Muslim police department. I don't know if you have. Well, this is his end goals is seizing the means of production. Yeah.
I mean, he's.
You got to get him out of here. You got to enforce what he did. Just fucking get him out of here. I mean, he lied on his application about his political affiliations. Enforce it. I mean, Pam Bondi announced they're going after. This is not Pam Bondi, but it's Wayne Allen Root, by the way, who's great. The prosecutor, U.S. prosecutor in L.A. For the new Justice Department announced that they're suing Los Angeles for creating a sanctuary city, saying it's unconstitutional, it's meaningless. I've been saying this for years. This is such an easy slam dunk to win. First of all, they're saying LA may not have the money to defend the lawsuit that they just announced this morning over sanctuary laws and anti-ICE raids. But it's really about sanctuary laws, which are unconstitutional. They just made this up out of thin air. It means nothing to the United States Supreme Court. If you go to with the Solicitor General, if you go before SCOTUS and say, we have created sanctuary laws, and they look through the Constitution, even that crazy black woman with the glasses is not going to find it, Eric.
Because she's going to use ChatGPT to write her
right.
thoughts.
But, I mean, where did this come from? By you claiming something out of thin air does not make it constitutional. You know, this is a violence-free zone, and then there's violence. You go, whoa! This is a violence-free zone. You can't have violence in here. I mean, it's crazy. This thing is so easily winnable. I'm shocked they waited this long.
Well, keep in mind, it's the trust me, bro law.
Yeah.
Trust me, bro.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Trust me.
Yeah. And
all right.
So also the other thing is Comer's committee, the the House Oversight Committee has opened up investigations into Karen Bass and into Gavin Newsom for, I believe, money laundering, bribery, and budget issues. So that's going to be interesting because they are going to be calling their staff members first and then getting them in the back room and working them over and getting them, Q&A on the record, which will lead eventually to Newsom and Bass having to appear.
Yeah. Well, Gavin was out talking and, talking about what a hard time he had growing up, how he understands the little guy and, all that because of his hardship background. Adam Carolla shared this clip earlier.
Very emotionally attached to this reality. I can extend the same with a sister who quite literally lived in a cutout of the hallway because we didn't have more than one bedroom where I slept on the couch. With a mom was working almost 3 jobs,
7
2.5
jobs,
jobs,
7 jobs, yeah.
Renting and then rented out the spare bedroom for most of my childhood.
So dark.
The emotional attachment to the issue of affordability is real and
To
raw,
him personally.
and for too many people.
And you too.
Yeah, and Carolla said, look up who his father is.
Oh, no. Look up the Zillow thing that I sent you. There was a Zillow thing. The guy found his house, had dinner in there with the current owners, and posted it on Twitter with a photo of this $2.6 million home with 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. He completely lied about the home he grew up in. There's a photo of the home. There's a listing from Zillow. The guy who posted it ate dinner in there recently with the owner. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath mansion. And this guy just made up the entire fucking story you just heard, folks. Shocking.
And that is why he is
good.
one of the most dangerous politicians ever to live.
Absolutely. That whole thing you just heard was a complete lie. And it was proven today on Twitter by the guy who showed his house on Zillow, $2.6 million home that he grew up in, mega mansion type place.
Unbelievable. But I mean, this is a guy who can lie. I mean,
he's very good at it. I mean, it's not just lying, saying I'm 38, I'm really 39 years old. I'm talking about creating entire narratives on the spot. That's not lying, Eric. That's another skill. Lying is saying I'm 40, but I'm really 42 or whatever. This is not lying. He has the ability to take entire storylines out of thin air and spin narratives out of them, hoping that no one's going to check.
Well, and they don't, or
they don't.
And he just moves right on, or he'll just deny. I mean, I will never forget when they had the most useless, what was it? The most useless debate ever with him and Ron DeSantis. The irrelevance debate, and Ron DeSantis was talking about the criminal statistics and whatever in California. The stats are right up on the screen, and Gavin Newsom saying, "Yeah, it's wrong." They will just deny it. They do not care if they're caught red-handed or not. It is astounding. Now, speaking of lying to oneself, I guess Elliot Page has come out with the new relationship.
Well, he was a lesbian, so it makes sense that this whoever this is would be with a woman because that's his natural inclination. I mean, just because you cut off your arms doesn't mean you're not going to have a desire to scratch your ass with your hands that no longer exist. I mean, this guy, if he was with a guy, I thought, wow, that's a weird twist, but he's now still a lesbian, but in a man's body.
Well, okay. Speaking of that,
and who's going to hire this guy anyway?
This is how bad the military was getting. Okay. Yeah. My wife was a director at Langley Air Force Base, and she had like volunteers or people who come in or whatever. And one of them it was a female, it was a lesbian with another female. Mm-hmm. The other female was transitioning to become a male, and then this one was transitioning to become a male.
Dude, it could be so confusing.
Like, what in the God's, it's like if one transitions to the other, like what Elliot just did, I guess it sort of makes sense where you can say, well, we're almost a couple. That's sort of resembling something. But the idea of both of them transitioning to the other side, it's like, hey, we're gay one way, let's go the other. Huh?
Oh
So,
my God.
There is a ton of psychoses there. But all right, let's have some well, you'll call it fun. I'm gonna
What is it?
groan a lot.
What is it?
Well, we got movies coming out this summer. It's July. This is, blockbuster time. Everything's got to be coming out. So let's discuss, because you probably know more than I do about all of
I don't
these.
even know about these movies. I was curious myself for this. Okay, what do you got here?
All right, let's see what we got. We've
You got
got
Superman coming out, Jurassic World. Jurassic World is probably the big gorilla of the that's tomorrow.
or the dinosaur movie, yeah.
The
Dinosaur in the room.
dinosaur movie.
And I'm sure that it'll do well just by default.
Yeah.
Does it have? Oh, it'll be Chris Prattless though.
Gareth Edwards is the director. I've never heard of him.
Oh,
but,
hold on. So we've got the guy kicked out. So it's now going to be female driven.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's see how it goes. Well, we got Jonathan.
Well, Superman's
Davis.
got to be male driven unless Superman's surrounded by girls.
No, this is the new Superman, and it's James Gunn.
Yeah.
James Gunn, who I think James Gunn's famously screwed over Star Wars, or did he? I can't remember. He got into problems, right? He did that movie with Chris Pratt. Then he got fired from it because he had some really weird tweets, if I recall. I think that's him. And then got put back in.
I mean, who is Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor? Who is Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane?
Who's David Cornsweet? I don't know.
I've never heard of any of these people in real life.
And we were just talking about that.
Right.
I think we were talking on the phone about I think we were discussing franchises, and I was like, can a franchise have an unknown based on the strength of the franchise name? I guess
we're going to find out. I guess we'll find out.
Oh, Rachel Brosnahan, I know.
Okay.
I think she was in.
Well, who's Superman? Is this Henry Cavill or is this a new guy?
No, it's the David Cornsweet.
He's Superman?
Yeah.
I got to get to the bottom of this. David Cornsweet. Okay.
Brosnahan, I think she was Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Oh, her I liked. Yeah. Yeah, I liked her in that little
good.
thing. She was very good in that. I don't know. I guess it's going to be all her. I guarantee it's going to be quips by her, wisecracks by her, sexual badminton by her, and he's probably a Brit, right?
Well, Cavill is a Brit, so I'm looking up the guy. I don't know him. I don't know what he's known for.
Oh. He's known for accepting scale and not a large paycheck now.
Oh, there you go. Get him early in the franchise, right?
Yeah.
Sign him to a long contract.
Yeah, I mean, the first one is like, scale, and then we'll take care of you later with the other ones.
That's the way things are going, they might have to do that with movies.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right, what else you got in this list here? You got
Eddington.
I have no idea. Oh, it's Joaquin Phoenix.
A neo-Western comedy. Oh,
which just says this thing blows.
Pedro Pascal
wrote something that was all our worst fears. That's a good promotion for the movie. Astor wrote something that was all our worst fears, and we now want you to pay to see it. We now want you to come see Eddington. It looks like Bison's falling off a cliff with Emma Stone. I love Austin Butler. He played Elvis. He's very good.
Okay. Well, we'll find out.
We'll find out about that one. I know what you did last summer.
Didn't that already come out? Oh, it's a reboot.
17 times. I think it's 1997, Eric.
Oh, they're calling it a requel.
Yeah, they came.
It's
they
both a sequel and a reboot.
They've combined words. They don't know how to market anything anymore. So they're
God, they don't need a portmanteau it. Okay. Oh, interesting.
What else you got? Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's the 18th version of that. Smurfs. I'll be the first online for Smurfs. Right. That looks good. Now this thing, they're putting ads out. The CGI on this thing, not the Smurfs, the Fantastic Four, looks so bad. I was like cringing in embarrassment. It looks like it's animated. I couldn't even see where it looks like a cartoon.
Well,
The trailer-
okay. Did you ever look at the comic books Fantastic Four?
Yes.
Is he so arrogant that he can't shave his mustache to play a part?
Yes,
it's like
because
he has
he's
to.
Pedro Pascal. You don't understand. I'm Pedro Pascal. I make movies of a Latin point of view.
With his trans sibling, yeah.
Yeah.
This guy's such a scumbag. I mean,
Yeah.
I prefer him in Mandalorian with the helmet on.
Yeah, that was good with the helmet on. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's the best. Or in Game of Thrones when his head gets smashed on the
That I
field.
never
That
saw,
was
but
fun.
the girl is Vanessa Kirby. Ebon. How about this guy's name? The guy playing Ben the Thing. How about this guy playing the Thing? Look at his real name. His name is Ebon Moss-Backrack. I mean, there's a reason that Lenny Bruce changed his name from Leonard Schneider. There's a reason that Max Kaminsky became Mel Brooks. There's a reason that Alan Konigsberg became Woody Allen. These people don't get it. If you paid me, I couldn't remember these people's names. They don't even understand why it's done, let alone the sheer arrogance of go fuck yourself. I'm not creating a stage name. I'd rather have my name forgotten than to create a stage name.
Well, how do you explain
it's
Humperdinck?
shocking. What? No, that was a singing thing. For a Vegas, he was a Vegas lounge singer. That's not the same thing.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, I feel like that puts a lot.
No, that's insane.
Oh my God!
How about Peter Lemongello, the guy who impersonated Engelbert Humperdinck? The guy came after him. They all came after Tom Jones, by the way.
Wow. By the way, I think
Here's the guy who gets it, Joseph Quinn. This guy understands show business. The Human Torch. He'll work more than the rest of them.
Well, but the irony is last time they did Fantastic Four, the Human Torch was Chris Evans, who wound up being Captain America and moved to a successful franchise.
Yeah.
But Fantastic Four has been a disaster every time it came out. I think it bombed every damn time.
Every single time.
I mean, it's like they're wannabe X-Men.
I don't know what they are. I never liked the comic book anyway, that version of it.
All right. The Home.
Okay, this is insane. I've seen the trailer. It's Pete Davidson. He looks like David Chappelle in the trailer. I don't know what he's doing. He looks like he's high as fuck in the trailer, and it's a thriller. It's one of these trapped in a home thriller. In this case, he's an orderly in a mental institution, Pete Davidson, and the mental institution has a lot of weird, cringy things going on in the mental institution. Let me put it that way. But he looks like David Chappelle, oddly enough. Everybody who sees it goes, is that David Chappelle?
Speaking of Pete Davidson, apparently he has been getting all of his tattoos removed lately for some reason.
Dude, the guy, if he died tomorrow, people go, yeah, I know that was going to happen. Okay, thank you. I thank you. Oh, a lot of celebrities died, including one I forgot to send you, who was the Cobra on the Pirates. Dave Stewart. I can't remember this guy's name. Dave, I forgot to mention that to you.
Okay, I don't.
People in the chat remember Dave, the right fielder for the Pirates.
Oh, well, yeah, like I'd know that. That just rolls.
No. I got to remember this.
Oh,
Dave.
somebody said Last Torch is Michael B. Jordan. Okay, so I'm not keeping up well with the
Pirate dead. Hold on. Let me just type in 3-word. Dave Parker. Yeah, it's Dave Parker. He died. He was one of the great Pirates of all time. And people are Pirate fans. Remember, he's a right fielder with a cannon for an arm, left-handed pull hitter, immense power, great ball player, completely outspoken maniac, but definitely a Hall of Fame level ball player. And this friend of mine, Rich Mullins, was the bat boy for the Pirates as a kid. He had been an all Pennsylvania shortstop in high school, and he ended up becoming the bat boy, and he saw things that no man should see. And he gave me a photo of, I think it was Bill Madlock and Dave Parker smoking a joint on the bench in full uniform, which I still have somewhere framed. I was going to look for it. Maybe I'll find it after the show. He saw things in that locker room as a kid that he couldn't believe what he was seeing. Parker, I think, was after the Willie Stargell We Are Family era, if pirate fans can correct me on that. I could be wrong, but I think Parker came after Stargell or overlapped slightly with Willie Stargell. But God bless him, rest in peace, Dave Parker, incredible ball player.
Okay. Jack White is in the chat to set me straight on the pop culture stuff, so that's probably good. It wasn't James Gunn, didn't screw over Star Wars. That was J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson. He was the one who directed The Last Jedi.
Okay.
So, Rian Johnson. I think James Gunn did get fired, though. I forgot what the name of the movie was, though. It was the kind of oddball Marvel movie that had Chris Pratt in it. It was actually pretty good.
I like Chris Pratt.
And then Jack White again. I think that's right. Hold on. No, Jack White. Okay. There were a bunch of videos of the new Superman actor quoting the Star Wars movies, the originals and the prequels. I don't think he's praised any of the Disney Star Wars stuff. Oh, okay.
All right.
So he has taste, I guess. I don't quite understand, but very cool. All right. Well, the biggest name that passed away is today. I think Jimmy Swaggart, who
I thought he was dead. To be honest with you, I didn't know he was.
A lot of people have responded.
No, I hate to say that, but Swaggart was a customer of mine at the custom shop, and he across the street there was a French clothing company called Bijan, and famously Ronald Reagan had gotten a bulletproof raincoat made for him at Bijan after the assassination attempt on his life. And Swaggart used to come into my store on Fifth Avenue and 51st Street, and at Rockefeller Center, and I think Bijan was across the street, maybe a little bit further up. I don't have to be. You have to check that on. But he used to come in and order these shirts, and he would order hundreds of shirts. But he told me after we were done with the shirts that he was going across the street to get a Bijan bulletproof raincoat because it was good enough for Reagan. It was good enough for his flock in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I thought, go get him, go get him. But when he came in the store this particular time, Jimmy Swaggart, this was a time when Jerry Lee had gone back into rehab, almost died. Now, he had been in and out of rehab a bunch of times, Jerry Lee, but it was in the news that week when Jimmy Swaggart came in. And first cousin, obviously, for people that don't know, and also Mickey Gilley, the legend out of Texas, who owned the Gilley's Club, where they filmed Urban Cowboy, by the way. And Mickey Gilley was a great performer. Obviously, Jerry Lee, and also Jimmy Swaggart, who played boogie woogie, played all kinds of different stride piano in his services. So I asked him how Jerry Lee was doing, and I didn't have to say much more than that because he now knew that I knew that this, was his cousin, his first cousin, Jerry Lee. Mm-hmm. And he said, Mark, Jerry Lee has turned his back on the Lord, and Satan himself has entered his soul. And I'm just asking how he's doing. So he gives me this entire sermon in that Jimmy Swaggart voice. And there's other customers in the store, Eric, who don't know who he is, because these are just regular New Yorkers. Anyway, so he gets his shirts. He doesn't leave with the shirts because they're custom made. So I have to fill out the order form. And I said, what's your address, by the way, down there? Because we'll mail them to you. It takes 4 to 6 weeks to get the custom made shirts. And he says, Jimmy Swaggart, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I said, what street? He goes, Jimmy Swaggart, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I said, you got a zip code? He goes, he repeats it for the third time. So I go downstairs to the manager and I go, look, I don't know. Here's the thing. Here's the order. He ordered 100 shirts. It must have been like a $7,000 order of just custom made shirts. And he said, you got to get an address out of them.
Were you on commission?
What's that? Oh,
Were
yeah. Yeah.
He made your day, man.
Oh, no. Made my month. So he says, you got it. I say it's Jimmy Swaggart. He doesn't know who Jimmy Swaggart is. The manager is just some square dude. He doesn't know who it is, older guy. And he says, you got to get his address. I go back upstairs to the fitting room. And I said, Reverend Swaggart, please, for the love of God. Well, you mentioned God, Mark, and that's a good point. No. I'm just talking about the address, Jimmy, just the address. And he wouldn't give me the address. It became a bone of contention. And we had to mail it to General Delivery, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And of course it got to him. The manager went berserk on me. But the guy left. He went to Bijan to get the bulletproof raincoat. right after we took the shirt order from him. So rest in peace. I think we might have an episode on Jimmy.
We do have an
Swaggart's-
episode.
I thought we
There's a
did
link.
one. Yeah.
There's a link in the description wherever you're watching if you guys want to check that out. And I also shared it on X.
Check it out because it also involves Jerry Lee, who is, of course, a legend, and Mickey Gilley, a minor legend of his own right. And there's plenty of video of Mickey and Jerry playing together, which is fantastic. But, you know, I was reading a new Dylan book last night, and Dylan is in Nashville recording, and they take him in to meet Jerry Lee. And somebody introduces him and says, Jerry Lee, this is Bob. Bob, this is Jerry Lee. And Bob goes, hey, man, maybe we should do something together sometime. Like make an album. And Jerry Lee's just playing the piano. He goes, no fucking way. And he goes, all right, thank you, man. And Bob leaves. I thought that was just great. I mean, he's got this relationship with Johnny Cash. Bob does, which is legendary. So he figures maybe I could do something with Jerry Lee Lewis. Oh, no, they're not the same type personality.
That is funny. I mean, well, Jerry Lee was pretty volatile, wasn't he?
That's obviously the point of the story. Yeah. I mean, but so I don't know if the devil was possessing his soul at that time, but that's what Jimmy Swaggart told me had happened to his cousin.
Maybe he was out of his stash, man. Maybe
Yeah,
he
who
was sober
knows?
at the
He wasn't
time. And it
having-
was like, oh, hell no. I
He
don't.
wasn't having a good day, but
That's funny.
I mean, he would have been the Epstein of his time, and probably tagged with a Mossad label for marrying his 13-year-old cousin at the time, ostracized from rock and roll. But like I pointed out, many countries around the world, the age of consent is 14 and even less some places.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what happened when Jerry Lee married his cousin, who was extremely underage, and
Yeah, she
got
was
kicked
13
out.
or 14.
13 or 14. He got kicked out of London, and then was ostracized here in the United States. It cost him a big part of his career.
To his credit, she survived him.
Oh yeah. Oh,
no,
yeah.
no, they stay together for life. Though. I mean,
yeah.
it is one of
Yeah,
those
it reminds
weird
me of the
ones.
Woody Allen story with his wife, you know, who's still with him now, from Mia Farrow's crazy adopted
Soon Lee or something. Or?
her crazy adopted brood, where she beat them all. 2 or 3 of them committed suicide, deletion.
Did stuff. Yeah,
Did stuff to
self-deletion.
themselves, and she was lucky to get out alive, you know, according to her.
Wow. Well,
Anyway,
somebody
check out the Jimmy Swaggart episode, because he for everything he did, there's a lot of good in Jimmy Swaggart. Let me just put it that way. For all the bad things that he was known for, he saved and helped a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Rest in peace, Jimmy Swaggart, bro.
All right, now somebody who is not a good guy, and I think we can all confirm it now. Bryan Kohberger.
Yeah, what's the deal with this?
This guy.
Who is this guy that he gets this pull? I don't get this case.
Okay,
we were texting
Kohberger.
with Phil this morning from Atlanta, and Phil was aghast. I was aghast, and I said, "Is this guy connected to somebody, Eric?"
Well, either way, in 2022 November timeframe,
Yeah.
4 people were killed in an Idaho house.
Right.
It would be a spree killing technically, because
It was like
one
Richard
sequence.
Speck. It was like Richard Speck.
Kind of, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, but this guy was going to be on trial for it. Now it took them a while to identify him, and a lot of people were freaked out because it was almost like the in cold blood killing, you know, the Clutter House when they killed everybody. This was a case like that. Another odd part is he killed 4 out of 6 people. 2 people were alive, and one of them crossed his path apparently, and identified him as having bushy eyebrows. I'm interviewing Howard Bloom next week, actually, he wrote the book about the whole case. But Kohberger is a weird dude. Like,
No, I understand that, but what is your take on how he got this plea deal?
But it's
Why?
pretty common. It's pretty
What do you mean it's
common,
pretty common? They didn't even notify the families.
which is kind of fucked up. But I think that the plea deal, no, I'm saying that there are many people who will do a plea deal to take the death penalty off the table.
Why?
That's part of the reason to have a death penalty, so that way they will do it. What I'm
but
worried
they have
about,
this guy dead to rights, according to Phil and other people.
it
This is
seemed
not,
like it.
No, it does not seem like it. They have every piece of evidence on the planet Earth. Phil said to me this morning, the only reason to give a plea deal is if the families want a plea deal. None of the families were even told of this plea deal. They are losing their effing minds, Eric. Nobody can figure out why all of a sudden they're giving him a plea deal. This case was a slam dunk case. Nobody's asking for a plea deal. The families are now freaking outraged. That's why I'm asking you if you know anything on top of this thing.
Our moderator saying that half of the family did agree to it.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's it then. Okay.
So half of them.
Okay.
But anyway, I do know that sometimes it depends on who you ask, because I know lawyers who are saying there are big problems with the case.
Okay. I'll take that for an answer.
And he might have,
I'll accept
might
that.
have slid on that.
Right. That's cool. That's cool.
What my biggest concern about this, though, is I'm understanding he may not have to allocute, which kind of pisses me off, because if you get a plea deal, I want you to say, I did this, and this, and this, and this is why. I really do. I mean, I don't think it's asking too much. What do you think? You're going to plead guilty and everything.
Well, I'm
opposed
to the plea deal anyway, so the rest of that is meaningless to me. I don't think he should have gotten a plea deal. I don't think anybody should, unless it's some serial killer bodies missing storyline.
Nor your case has weaknesses that could fall. No,
that's okay. I don't care. Let the chips fall where they may. I don't have to control the universe. Forget it. Put the guy on trial and let the chips fall where they may. I want to take away prosecutorial power, Eric, is where I'm going with this. I don't want them the power of life and death.
I said allocution, didn't I?
Yeah, that's what he called it.
Okay. So he said it's called an allocution. Okay. Yes. And it doesn't look like it's going to be one, which is frustrating.
Allocution.
Yeah.
It's weird. We got a guy here. I meant to tell you about this. We got a guy here named Representative Robert Garcia. He's a Democrat from California, not to change the subject, but apparently he's from Peru and he came here illegally. And I'm thinking to myself, we now have an illegal Peruvian congressman in California who has a seat and is an outspoken Trump critic, and he's not even a legal alien. I mean, it's just some crazy, weird spin-offs that we're learning, Eric. By the way, they canceled all the July 4th celebrations around California because illegal people who aren't supposed to be here might think about this. I just want you to wrap. Maybe I'm missing something here. They canceled fireworks celebrations in all of these cities, multiple cities in Southern California, because ICE may show up to arrest illegal aliens. So no legal Americans are being allowed to celebrate July 4th because they might find a felon or an illegal murderer running around in the crowd. I'm going like, they closed the swimming pool last week in Pasadena for swimming lessons because of the same rationale. I don't understand the mind leaping to this conclusion. Maybe you can help me here.
I'm just waiting for them to say that they also canceled it because of that they'd be traumatized if they heard fireworks. They think it was.
Oh, that would be funny. That would be funnier.
Watch them say that, man. Watch them.
Speaking of visas, did you see this guy in England? This Bob Villain. Not Bob Dylan. This is Bob Villain.
Yes,
which is a takeoff on Bob Dylan's name. Screaming.
Each of the band members is named. One is Bob. They're both Bobby Villain themselves as the band members, both of them. But yes, I did see the guy, and what a scumbag. I mean,
his visa was yanked by Trump, by the the State Department through Rubio. Yep. He had an American tour set up for the bulk of his money, and that just came to an end. One of the venues, he's supposed to be here in LA at a small venue. I looked it up. I didn't ever heard of it, but he was supposed to play here and 55 other American cities. And now not getting in.
You know what? I'm that's fine by me. And what it does remind me of a little bit. Now, I'm not saying it's an exact equation. A lot of people say, "Oh, that's just going to make him bigger and he'll get something out of it." But do you remember last time somebody pissed off a president was the Dixie Chicks? And I don't think their career ever really recovered from it.
Never recovered.
So you could say, oh, they went after Bush. Everybody hated Bush, which was true. Bush was very unpopular, but they just kind of died right out. And this guy is going to be the same
Well,
thing.
one guy they were pursuing was John Lennon. I mean, under the Nixon administration, for being a guy who had convictions for drugs, and he was also leading anti-war demonstrations. When I mean leading, Lennon,
so bad they're
called the chicks now. That's Lennon was involved in putting together anti-war protests with concerts, and the Nixon administration went after him in the same way that this Bob Vinyl was now blocked from coming in.
Yeah, I mean, I watching him be like a wannabe Rage Against the Machine dick.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought the same thing.
He reminded me of so much of Rage Against the Machine in that.
Well, Rage Against the Machine had a severe setback when they endorsed Shining Path. Speaking of Peru again, the communist guerrilla movement in Peru. That was a huge blunder. That may have ended their careers. I know Morello was probably in favor of it, but Zach was not. And that put a dent, and it may have ended their careers. I'm not sure how much effect it has, but it was a thing. It was a big thing at the time.
Oh, it hasn't ended their careers because they came under fire a couple of years ago. I forgot exactly what it was, but essentially they're scamming their audience out of a ton of money. Everybody is talking about they're no longer Rage Against the Machine. They're Rage for the Corporation now.
Right.
That they're completely corporatized.
But are they still a band? I didn't know they were still together.
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
People in the chat, have you heard Rage Against the
money.
Machine in the last 10 years? Please let me know.
Oh, here we go. Now it's Rage on Behalf of the Machine. That's what I was trying to remember. But yeah, they were complete assholes.
Let me ask you something. I didn't understand this story. Maybe you can understand it. DeSantis deputized the National Guard to become immigration judges.
Yeah.
So an individual guy in the National Guard is now an immigration judge?
Immigration
I don't understand what it meant.
That's what I've been trying to tell you, because I haven't completely understood. When I said that immigration judges aren't the exact same thing like a normal judge in a robe type of judge.
Right.
They're almost more like an arbitration type of deal. And
but these are just National Guardsmen. I don't understand, how do they become a judge?
they've already sworn an oath, and they probably can get trained on, what, here are the standards. You follow the paperwork. Is it lined up? Yes, go. Out.
Okay. All right.
And that's why I was trying to.
I'll have to accept that, but I'm not happy with that answer.
Okay. Well,
I'm
it's
still
a pretty low. Well, that's
level?
the whole.
It's a low bar or something, or
well, okay. Remember, we've gone back and forth about. Oh God, my brain is fried.
Sorry to hear that.
Due process, right?
Okay.
And I said that the due process for immigration is extremely low. It's kind of a show up. Are you here? Yes, no, blah, 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 blah. Well, from what I understand, that judges too are not like a full-blown judge, has to go to law school and get sworn in, all that.
Okay.
It's just somebody who's going to go over the paperwork, and then they can say, yeah, you're in, no, you're not. And they don't have to, they're not a judge. They're
okay. I didn't know that. I don't know what that
means.
means, but I'll accept it for now.
And they do have similar jobs in the Guard. There is JAG and things like that in the military, even if you wanted to go higher.
Okay.
But anyway, what do we have? Oh, I saw this earlier. Tim Pool was sharing the story. Well, first off, let me go back. And it looks like the Sean Combs case is shaking out. Well, apparently they're in agreement on charges 2, 3, and 5, but not on charge 1 yet. So he's probably going down.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
He's going to have enough money to appeal, that's for sure.
So they've reached a verdict on 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, a verdict that doesn't tell me that
I didn't know what
it's guilty or not guilty.
Right.
It's just a verdict, but they have a decision on those.
Okay.
I'm thinking that it's probably guilty on those charges, because charge 1 is the RICO charge. And if they're saying not guilty of everything else, then the RICO sort of falls down, right? If you say, well, Oh, it's
I
a
don't know. I know
conspiracy, but
they
there's
dropped a
nothing else.
lot of the counts right before they went to the jury. So
They cleaned up some of the stuff, like
Cleaned
there's
up, I
something
mean-
about the arson or whatever, but they still had all the main charges in there.
oh, okay,
Well,
all
I mean, you
right,
got 5 charges. I mean,
right.
so
But
you
they
got,
didn't they have 35 to start?
possibly, but
Yeah.
that's not totally uncommon. Let's see. They've not reached the verdict on one, so I don't know. We'll find out what's going
We'll
on.
find
there.
out by by Friday, probably, right, Eric?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's
Or
I
it's a
think probably-
mistrial. I don't know. I guess they would start over again. But my favorite lawsuit of the week is the subway surfing mom who's suing Meta and TikTok for making her children surf on the top of subways to make videos so they could get clicks on their videos. Of course, it led to their demise, as you're well aware. But these operations of subway surfing involve multiple cameras, one on the ground to get the master shot, and then other handheld on the top surfing with them. So the mother is now blaming TikTok for creating, I don't know, challenge contest videos where you can enter it into
It's
a
a viral challenge, but
The
I don't
viral
think they
challenge.
run it.
She's suing TikTok and Meta.
Right. What I'm saying is that I don't know that they're actually. It's their platform.
Yeah,
And things and stupid people do things that
Right, that's what
become
I thought.
viral.
right.
That doesn't necessarily mean that TikTok said, "Hey, let's come up with a viral campaign."
No,
to,
that's what I thought. I thought the same thing as you.
Now, where I can see I don't know enough yet, but if TikTok, let's say, ran an ad campaign, like a commercial or something, saying, "Check out the viral things you find on TikTok," then maybe they'd have some skin in that game. But I don't know which. It would be sort of like somebody advertising a classified ad for some dirty deed, and you're suing the newspaper because somebody took out the classified ad for them to do it. It doesn't quite make
Bizarre.
sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But the subway surfing thing is just the craziest thing. The police have said, knock yourselves out. We can't prevent it. They're going to like subway yards and random stops in the outer boroughs and climbing on top of the train. What are the cops supposed to do?
Yeah. Okay. A judge has allowed the suit.
I know. That's why I was bringing it up, because it does have some meat to it.
Wow. Let me see. Influenced by dangerous content. It's going to be a problem though. We already have enough censorship as it is. So,
Yeah, I don't know what the ruled on Friday. That's a name. Norma Nazario can proceed with her case, allowing her to argue that Meta and ByteDance goaded her son into
you see, Meta
dangerous.
is.
How did they
Meta-
goad her son?
I don't know that they did that, but I don't know why Meta. Okay, if it's a TikTok challenge, TikTok is
Well,
only.
I think he posted it on his own Facebook page afterwards. He put it up on Facebook, I think. Have
Okay,
expressed
oh.
their condolences, describing the incident as heartbreaking. Why did they even express condolences?
Yeah, I don't know.
What's it to them? What kind of condolences? What are they sponsoring the kid? Like he's a skateboard champion or something?
That's the issue I have. By promoting addictive content, this is a suit against an algorithm, and it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I find that troubling because that can be
troubling. Imagine how they feel.
Well,
I
I'm
mean,
sure
Meta's
Zuckerberg,
dead. Yeah,
got
I
his billions comfortably locked up.
Right.
But I'm just saying we're already hit and demonetized left and right just for words out of our mouth. And
yeah,
if they can get hit on that, like you're allowing blah 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 blah, then watch the censor engines come down even more and more and more.
It might be a
more.
fake out suit. Maybe they're doing it for that purpose. It might be a fake out.
It might be, but and I do feel terrible about the kids, but there are
I don't
other
feel terrible
cases,
about the kids at all. They did it on purpose.
Well, there's so many other ones though. Like you've got people who are creeping up and sneaking into open doors or houses. That's a popular challenge that's out there. I'm like, well, just lock those
there's
people up.
right. I don't blame. Yeah, these are just crazy ones. I mean, Larry Charles interviewed a black ghetto kid named Bonk, who jumps up. He's got gold teeth, face tattooed, and his art, his comedy, is to jump over counters in fast food places and steal food and the cash register, and then run out the door while being filmed. And that's his comedy, you know. And he's got a lot of followers.
Speaking of that, Nate did a video on this, and he told me the story is fascinating. They have different challenges. Okay, all these things are challenges. Well, there's this challenge in North Korea, or it wasn't North Korea, but it was like in Korea or, you know, in Asian worlds or whatever, where they would like spray people in the face with like kind of a lotiony, kind of a gross stuff. And it would be like, you know, two attractive females, Asian females, and they, you know, pick the random person, they go spray them in the face, and or rub their hand in their face with whatever the stuff is. And they'd be like, God, you know, what is this? And you know, ha 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 ha, for what, you know, different cultural things.
Right.
Well, they did this over and over and over for a period of months. And then they were actually, the two individuals were prostitutes, and they were hired to do these challenges, and they were paid pretty good money. And they did this over a period of time. They captured on video, and then they got their assignment for this other dude. Okay, you were going to get this person. Now they're going to pretend that they don't know you, and they're going to fight you on it, but you got to make sure that you get it on the face, and they train them how to do it exactly right. They did it. A guy drops dead. It was an assassination by the North Korean government.
Oh, I remember
and they
this.
had planned this up the whole time.
Oh, no, I've seen the video. There was a number of years ago, but they were spraying him, and that was it was filmed. They got the security camera footage. Yeah, that was.
But it played like a challenge. So the killers, literally didn't even have a clue what they were doing. They were just completely used.
Brilliantly dark way to go. And it doesn't smell right. But you know what does smell right? The new Trump fragrance that just came out. I don't know if you saw this. The Victory 4547 Trump fragrance smells right. This North Korean thing doesn't smell right, but the T1 mobile phone that Trump has come out with, I think it's $499. It's a gold, I think probably T-Mobile's involved. $499 with an American flag, gold phone. And then I think Eric and Junior are running this operation here.
Okay, I got to tell you.
Go ahead.
The gold phone, it immediately makes me think of the Escobar phone. It came out like 4 or 5 years ago. They came out with an Escobar phone, which was like Pablo's nephew or whoever the hell was alive.
I don't know.
And it was a gold phone coming out.
Well, he may not have had the reach of the. He may not have had the reach of the president. He might in marketing, but these two kids are on the fragrance, which is apparently for men and women. I don't know what it smells like, but they're now promoting the phone Victory 4647. The fragrances are here, and then the phone itself, calling it transformational new cellular
with a $47.45 per month. It's like, why not $45.47, guys? Got to get the dollars. Got to get the higher number on that.
That I don't know. I thought the same thing. Telehealth and pharmacy benefits, according to the Trump mobile website. Anyway, they're branching out into new areas. Is the point?
Okay. God bless is cheesy as F.
Which one? Which one?
They're cheesy as hell, in my opinion.
Which one? The phone or the fragrance?
Yes.
Both?
Yes.
Oh, you're not going to buy either one?
I am not. No.
Okay. Well, if in the comment section down below, before you subscribe and tell us your personal tale of woe, how you have no legs or arms and all your other stories that you put in there because of the Civil War, please tell us what you think you would buy of these two or none, like Eric. If you would buy the Trump fragrances for your wife or the wife for you for your birthday, and or the phone, the gold phone with the American flag on it. I'm curious to see how many people are interested or not interested in buying into this thing.
Well, I want to know, what about you?
I'm not buying any of it. But the point of the matter is, I don't know. I'd have to smell the fragrance. Let me be honest with you. I'd have to smell, well, whatever fragrance it is, I'd still have to smell it, but I have to smell this one.
All right. Well, so Prissy says it smells like victory.
Yeah, but I don't know what that means. I got to smell it myself. He says,
I hope it doesn't smell like napalm.
No. But it says men and women, so I assume there's two different ones. By the way, did you see your hero and my hero, this Representative Brandon Gill out of Texas, grilling that black DEI guy, where he was talking about holistic admissions to college?
Yeah, I'd have to find that one. Yes, I that was what tipped me off, is the holistic.
Right. I mean,
admissions.
this guy Gill, Eric, is smooth as silk. He never gets ruffled. He just keeps going forward. And this victim of his,
Dinesh D'Souza's son-in-law.
Is that true?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. That's really great.
Yeah, they just had a child.
Dinesh
Another
D'Souza
child. I
and
think
him,
they have-
or no?
No, he and his
here he
wife.
is.
Dinesh's
Him and his
daughter is his wife.
Oh, that's far
Do you
out.
believe that
Okay.
America should be a colorblind society? For instance, should people be treated differently based on their race? It's just a yes or no question.
It's not a yes or no question.
It's a yes or no
it-
question.
It is a as I said in the beginning of my testimony,
Mhm.
A
America
yes or
has
no
not
is
done
fine.
right by
Should
indigenous
people-
peoples, by black people, by Asian American and Pacific Islander
Should people be treated differently based on their race? Yes or no?
People should receive the services and the support and the remedies that
So
are
your
owed
answer
to
is
them.
that they should be treated differently based on their race.
They should receive the remedies that are owed to them because of the systemic racism.
Okay,
Do you
so
believe
that's
that-
a
do you
no.
believe that
Yeah,
race
that's a
should
yes.
be considered an employer hiring practices?
Yes.
I do not believe that white people are the only qualified people for jobs.
I didn't say that. Nobody said that. I asked you if race should be considered an employer hiring practices.
You got to keep in mind, it's very important for the narrative. They can never say yes or no. They always have to have a paragraph
Right.
because they're obfuscating what they're doing.
Well, because
And
the,
they
the
don't want to
answer,
get pinned down with a yes
right,
or
but the
no.
answer is
racist
no.
answer.
Their answer is no. So to say no, he would then say, but you said this on such and such a date, that it should be. So they're trapped either way, Eric. Beautifully trapped.
Oh, yeah.
But he's very smooth about it, Gil.
And you're not going to intimidate me by slandering me as a racist.
You're also, I did not call you a racist.
No,
And
you-
you're not
you
going to
implied it,
intimidate
though.
me
You
by
implied it.
insisting
I'm
that I
asking
called you a
straightforward
racist.
question. It's a yes or no question. Should race be considered an employer hiring practices? Yes or no?
I believe that diversity ought to be considered as companies and other organizations attempt to
So race
reflect
should.
their
So I'll take
customers,
that as a
our,
yes.
our country.
I'll take that as a yes. Which race do you think should be preferred?
Ooh, good one.
I do not think that a single race should be preferred.
You just said that you believe that race should be considered an employer hiring practices.
I don't know. There's going to be a transcript.
there a
this
transcript of this shit,
hearing.
motherfucker,
You
or not?
Say that in that way.
Okay, why don't you explain what you believe?
What I
Very
said
briefly.
and what I believe is that the demographic composition of workplaces,
Which
our
is
nation's military, and
demographic
so on,
composition.
our Congress ought to reflect the diversity of the,
the
United
racial
States of
demographic
America.
composition. Racial demographic. Is that what you're saying?
Racial, gender.
Okay, so race should be a factor in employer hiring practices. Yeah, that's what you're saying, is it not?
Organizations ought to attempt to match the
You're
diversity
you're,
of
you're
their.
hopping around the question.
No,
you don't want to
I am
answer it.
answering quite straightforwardly.
Who
as a
gets
matter
to
of fact.
determine which
Straightforwardly.
races are preferred?
Which isn't a word.
I know.
I don't. I already told you I don't have a single
You just
racial
you
group
just told me
ought
that
to
you
be.
believe that the racial demographic makeup should be taken into account in hiring practices.
and it should
Exactly. So 13% there.
Wow.
be
Let me tell you
reflected
something.
in all
Go ahead.
Oh, you wanted to tell me something?
No. Go, that's okay. You just said it.
levels of companies and other
Okay,
organizations.
let's talk about college admissions. If two different children are applying for college, let's say one is white and one is black, and there's one slot available, should they be evaluated based on the same objective criteria? Test scores, for instance.
Are you familiar with holistic admissions?
Should they be held to the
Damn,
same
holistic, Eric.
standards regarding test scores? It's a yes or no
I am a
question.
proponent of holistic
It's
admissions.
just a yes or no question.
Yeah, no, I can't answer that question for you as a proponent of holistic admissions.
Got it. I'll
Got
take
it.
that as a no.
Did you see his smile?
Yeah.
Like I got you.
Yeah, I said
you
holistic,
circled in.
motherfucker.
I got my term. Okay, so holistic
What is
admissions.
holistic admissions?
All right. Holistic admissions is normally when you want to apply to a college or something, right? You would say, are you qualified? Did you go to high school? Did you get your training? Are you qualified? What were your grades? Okay, did you pass the test? Did you have a high enough score so you could possibly excel in the test? Can you pay for it? Okay, those are the basic elements. You've got the money, you've got the grades, da-da-da. Holistic admissions is, what is the narrative of your life? What is your neighborhood like? What other feelings do you have? It adds in.
What?
It's like, packing the Supreme Court with more people so you can spread out the mess. You're adding more qualifications that are not necessarily relevant.
Because the regular qualifications.
And then you raise them up and you shrink the test scores, for example, because we don't like tests.
A lot of them eliminated SATs a long time ago. Yeah.
So that's
holistic. That's holistic. It's great when they trap one of these race hustlers under the bright lights of the House or the Senate. Then they start squirming and they realize that they're trapped like the rodents that they are. This guy brilliantly trapped this race hustler, full of shit guy who got a job, wrote a PhD on some sort of Black Studies program thing. And then there's nowhere for him to go in normal civilization. So he ends up being a professor or an associate professor at the school he went to, or a nearby school. Then he is one of the administrators of the DEI program. Some of these interviews with these people, whether it's the heads of the universities, and Trump is not letting Harvard off the hook. Apparently, he is torturing Harvard into compliance. Eric, from what I've seen, the woman at the University of Virginia was forced to resign this week, and her deputy director was forced to resign, having said crazy things with hidden cameras, which I'm a big proponent of in these particular cases. They said things on hidden cameras from Accuracy in Media, I think it was, that ended their careers.
Good. Well, here's what you're talking about.
Look
at this sign that she's holding up. Okay, so the big narrative is, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm anti-Israel. Isn't that the argument, right? What does that say? That says Israel. No, it doesn't say Israel, does it?
It's a phony argument. Everybody knows it's a phony argument. It always has been a phony argument from day fucking one. But it's interesting that it's coming out of Health and Human Services, even though it's Harmeet Dillon. They keep saying this is Health and Human Services handling this, because I think the dismantling of the Department of Education, they don't want these suits, which may take years, I think, right, Eric, to be involved with an agency that's been shuttered, is my guess.
It could be. Yeah, I think Health and Human Services did take over a lot of the.
All right, because it's still Harmeet Dillon's lawsuit from the Civil Rights Division, is what I'm trying to say.
No, I agree. But anyway, I think it's good. I've got one of these days I'm going to play the Van Jones clip on here, because I thought
that's a great clip. That's a great clip.
It was the best I've ever seen, explaining some of that stuff. Konstantin Kisin, it was funny. I saw a little clip of him kind of going at it with an anchor, one of the morning news anchors.
Is that the trigonometry guy?
Yeah, he's half a trigonometry, but he was like with an anchor, and he was talking about, how London isn't as English anymore, that they're losing their English identity. And they're, of course, saying, that's a lie, that's racist. He goes, no, it's not racist. He said, there's footballers everywhere, and they're Black, and they were born here. Nobody considers them anything but English, so they're English. And they go, well, what about you? He said, I'm not. He said, I'm not English. I was born in the Soviet Union. I moved here, but I am not, English. So then a guy is trying to argue with him, as the one of the anchors saying, how can you can't say this, da-da-da. And Kissinger said, okay, hold on. He said, what if everybody from Scotland moved here and London was 60% Scottish? Would you agree that it was less English? And the guy's like, well, yes. Anyway, it was really a perfect example of that, and I think the Van Jones thing was great on that too. But you know what else I think is great? We need to always have a segment. We'll just call it Good AI.
Oh, weird. Okay, this looks interesting.
Let's see.
It's a woman just going to go for a swim, right?
Yeah, just go for a jump.
What is she doing? Oh, dear God. Oh, for the love of God.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
Wow. Wow. It's so dangerous. I mean, you have to check the weight when they get on board the ship because it can capsize.
Yes, it absolutely can. Absolutely.
I don't know if you saw Mike Tyson came out this week demanding Trump legalize marijuana and let everybody out of prison. And there was a third demand. He said Biden didn't do it. Failed
pledge.
It's a failed pledge. And the two parts of the story that I'm really interested in is Tyson himself. Now, Tyson himself may have a motive for this. He's in the weed business in Las Vegas, so he's got motivation for that. Oh, the banking laws. They want to be able to get loans. That was another one. He wants to get a loan to open up. He's a front man for some other cats, probably the mob in Vegas. But his quotes about this thing are really the best part of the story because he says that weed is not a drug. And it gave, which is insane, but he says it gave him a new lease on life. I could not live. I was going crazy without cannabis. I was going absolutely mad, fighting people in the street. What Mike fails to realize, or not realize, but to say, is he is at that point not smoking weed. Why he's going crazy? Because I knew Mike when he was clean and sober, and he was the sweetest guy on the face of the earth. When he was clean and sober for a number of years here in LA. He was a baby. He was very sweet. Once he slipped and went back into nonstop weed smoking, if you go off of that weed, you will start fighting people in the street, which is what he's referring to. There was a period of time when Mike was completely clean and sober with no weed, and he was a doll. He was the sweetest guy in the world. Then he moved to Vegas and started getting into the marijuana business, and this is where we are right now. But there's another Mike Tyson who I miss.
I love you, Mark, but I just gotta smoke weed all day long because I just love weed. I really do, and it's not so bad.
Okay.
But yeah, he's putting pressure on Trump to decriminalize, move it from felony 1 to felony 3, and decriminalize Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, which nobody's opposed to. I don't think. I think even RFK is going to do that anyway. But these bank loans and other things are causing, not the bank loans. The study came out today about heart damage from smoking anything, especially weed. A pretty large study came out this week showing that the incidence of heart disease from long-term weed smokers is quite real.
Wow. I don't know. The last I saw of him recently was that embarrassing fight with Jake Paul.
I needed the money. Don't you understand? Eric, I needed the money. My weed, I can't get the loans because of Trump. That's why it's Biden.
Dude, that was pathetic. I mean, it was like Jake Paul was holding him up.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, when he was in there doing the body blows, it was like he was propping him on the, I did not realize how bad a shape it felt like elder abuse in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like
it is.
It should be investigated because
I know.
I think
there are boxing commissions. There are boxing commissions in every
but it
city.
wasn't a sanctioned fight.
Sanction or no sanction. I mean, there's commissions in cities,
I don't know, but anyway, that was horrible. Now the banking thing is a big deal, because it's a cash crop. I mean, quite literally, you cannot buy cannabis, from what I understand, with anything but cash, and that's why it's incredibly dangerous running dispensaries or things because they're a completely cash business. People can't use a credit card because you
can use a credit card. What they're talking about is getting bank loans for your business because of the federal oversight of banks. There's plenty of weed stores right here. You could walk in and use a credit card. It's about the federal banking oversight of loans, Eric, the FDIC preventing you from getting a loan for a weed business. That's what he's referring to. He wants to expand and get loans. You could use anything, a debit card, a credit card. They really don't give a shit about that. In fact, there's plenty of other products in there.
All right. Well, I don't think it's that way everywhere. I think it's.
I don't know. I'm just talking about California. I don't know what it's like anywhere else, but you use credit cards here to buy weed.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it's about the loans. It's about government loans, government-backed loans. Put it that way. And their banking problems. They do have banking issues of where to put the money.
Oh, here we go. Cash only in Washington, and anyway, I know it's been a big problem. So I don't know, because it is federally illegal.
That's what he's referring to, and he's not alone. But there's a bunch of other sports stars who signed up with Tyson on this thing. Mostly NBA players. Let me put it that way. Okay. They want to be able to smoke while they're playing. They said
that could I guess be some interesting entertainment. I don't know.
Well, speaking of new laws, this is a big day in California because July 1st, two days a year, July 1st and January 1st, we have new laws on the books and new things happen. One of the newer ones is that bartenders have to give you a roofie drug test to see if roofies have been put in your drink. And there has to be Narcan in the bar. And the roofie drug test, there has to be signs about the roofies. And they have to offer you a cover for your drink so nobody could put a roofie in your drink starting today. And the signage has to go up saying that you can have a roofie drug test on demand. This is in all the bars have to have this. So it turns out you're not allowed to see if your bartender is a convicted felon because of previous laws. And it turns out in many occasions, the roofies were being administered to the drinks by the bartenders themselves. So nothing stops the bartender from administering a roofie to some girl that he wants to do something to at the closing time. And they're not allowed to find out if the bartender has a history of doing this because they passed a law banning employers from ever finding out about the employee's criminal record.
Of course, only in California, right?
Right. No, that's why I'm putting this out there. It's so insane.
I mean, good God, when I applied at like McDonald's or any job back in the day, that's one of the questions. Are you a felon?
Well, they made that illegal. But what's sweeping the country with Gen Z is this insane new cultural phenomenon. I don't know how to explain this, but bartenders spill the beans on their drink payment habit. They do not run a tab. So they make the bartender run their credit card after every single drink in a packed bar. And the bartenders are losing their minds because they literally have to like close you out as a customer every single time you order a drink, Eric.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. They're losing their shit over this. And the Gen Z people are saying, well, what's it? First of all, they don't care. Yeah. Or they want to count their drinks, or they don't trust the establishment with their credit card, or they give a bunch of different reasons. But the point of the matter is the bartenders want to shoot themselves in the head.
Yeah, I don't blame them. I mean, I'm sure that you'll start to have some places that'll say one bill per customer.
Yeah.
That might be the only way to do it. You just say one bill per customer. So you either have one drink or you have 8, but that's it. You're closed out. You're closed the fuck out. Get out.
Well, I don't know about that, but the reality of it is, it may be the reason the bartenders are putting the roofies in the drinks in revenge to the previous story. Also, one more thing today, a small gas hike in California, tiny tax they put on.
65 cents? Okay.
Well, don't take away my joke, but it is 65 cents for every single gallon. You can't make this up. I mean, Newsom again blamed Trump, who's been in office for 6 months. He blamed Trump and the oil industry for targeting California and not the other 49 states for reasons he refuses to explain why they are targeting him and California particularly. This is a tax. This has nothing to do with the refineries. He needs this money for his social programs. So it's a little less than $1 per gallon tax on top of the already $5 or $6 a gallon gas.
Yeah, it's only like 10% for you. That would be a lot of money for us.
Yeah, it's nothing for me. I don't know. I just sneeze at that little 10%.
Wow. Okay. Well, you were talking about weed being authorized or whatever. Maybe it would start looking like this.
Oh boy, look at this. What the hell is this? Oh,
Why did
he? What the
They
hell?
have competitive robot soccer.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, he's
actually
down.
more
He's down,
entertaining.
Bob. Oh, he's back up. Oh my God. That's hysterical.
I know, it's more entertaining.
The stretcher part is the stretcher is brilliant.
I know, I love this. You remember the Robot Wars or the bot
I
battles?
remember
or what
Rock'em
you did?
Sock'em Robot. Raise your hand if you remember Rock'em Sock'em Robot, kids. Right? That was a fun game. That's brilliant.
Most coordinated.
Oh, he's down.
Nice
Another
plan.
teammate is down, and Robo, he's back up. Look at him go, Bob.
I love
He
Dustin.
scores!
They flop as good as the real ones.
Look at the fans. Oh, nice. Nice kick. Come on, somebody drive that home. Let's get in there. Come on. Come on, let's go. He's like waiting for the goalie almost. What the hell? Well, it's not going to replace the NFL, I'll tell you that much.
No, probably not. But it is pretty damn fun.
How about Tucker and Marjorie Taylor Greene congratulating Mamdani on his great campaign that he ran? You want to explain that to me? What is going on, man? It's just like crazy time.
Yeah. All right. You know what's not crazy though, are super chats. So.
Oh, you like that? Okay, I could go
yeah.
with that. You like super chats?
Yep. Anthony Madison says it's all Trump's fault. Prove me wrong.
I can't. But how do you like this bright blue, electric blue shirt I just got?
Very
I mean,
nice.
electric. This thing is so electric. I thought
It's
I'd wear it
electric.
today as a new one.
That's a great shirt. I like that color. I like royal blues and electric blues.
Yeah, this is like
very
electric.
good,
It's not even
strong
royal.
choices.
It's a kind of
Oh.
royal. Yeah, you're right. But it's like an electric royal.
Yeah, Mike Schaefer saying, bring back the bell. Come on, Mark.
The bell for the subscriptions, or
Yeah, I'm guessing. It's got to be. I don't know.
what happened to that bell? I don't even know what happened. Hold on. Hold on. This just in. Hold on. And there it is. They're off on the bell, ready to subscribe with Hunley on the inside rail, putting up the remember to subscribe button. You fat bastard. Get off the couch and subscribe.
Please. It's
Can we
free.
tell them we're going to be in Dallas in November? Can we tell them about that?
We can tell them that.
Because I think people are starting to buy tickets. That's why I figure we better tell it for our foreign friends. I think Canada's first, England second, Australia third in our foreign viewership.
Sure.
Is that correct? I mean, if you're an analyst,
I mean, I have to go look, but I mean, that would be very, very possible.
Canada, England, and Australia. Well, I'm saying it's three places where they may need to get tickets in advance to make plans to come to Dallas. Now, Dallas is not Austin. Don't be confused if you're from another country. Dallas is, we're going to be at a hotel, the Fairmont Hotel.
Nope.
What's that?
UK is second.
UK is second. Oh, that's even better. You know, there's
So
a
it's
lot of
US,
JFK people in the UK, a lot of JFK researchers.
Yeah. United Kingdom, then Canada, then Australia, then
Wow.
Ireland.
Hmm. Well, I hope
So-
somebody comes from each of those countries to represent their nation states. Kennedy needs you like that hole in the head, but we need you. And it's going to be fun. It's going to have Bob Groden and me and Eric, and we're going to show some films. We're going to show this Pruda film and other films related to that. It's going to be a fun ride, November 22nd, 21st in there that weekend. And it's a great hotel. It's a great dinner. Everything is great about it. It really is going to be fun. And we've done it before, but this is going to be a good one. We haven't done it in 2 years. I mean, look at this room. I feel like this is like a step up. Apparently, they switched hotels and got a better hotel. The Fairmont is just the best hotel in Dallas. If LBJ was alive, he'd be sitting on that couch there talking to, using Jack Valenti as a footstool instead of that table there. And then the pool there, LBJ would have been in that pool naked with many of his girls that he bought swimsuits for in Big D. Oh, who else is on the list now? Oh, it looks like it's expanding.
Yeah,
Robert Tannenbaum's on the list. I was just
there we go. And you just got the book, so you get it signed while you're there.
Groden, Tannenbaum, Larry Hancock. This is interesting. Jeff Meek is a good one. Dothit.
You met Chuck O'Celli before. He was.
I have. We have.
Yeah, he was there last time.
Mm-hmm.
And he does one of those like a radio show nationally.
Oh, right. That's right. Simpish has the incredible Oswald series on Mary Farrell's website. He wrote a series of articles about Oswald that are very good. November 21st, 23rd, Dallas, Texas website. There it is, Assassination Conference, virtual and in person. And the discount. And then the hotel, how does that work?
Well, I'm sure they'll send you the hotel information, but very importantly, and this is extremely important, you guys hitting your trigger, use Untold 10.
Oh, Untold 10.
You have to use Untold 10.
Yeah, don't be a fool, because that's the discount. That's the discount.
It's a discount. It also gets us credit for you going, and it's very, very important to us.
What if they hold their phone up to that squiggle thing?
It's magic. Let's see.
Does that work too, or that gets you into the? Okay, I don't really know how that.
It will take you right to the site.
Not the coin, the thing in the square box.
Yeah, the JFK.
Right.
QR code.
QR code. That's right. I can remember QR code.
Yeah,
More to be
put your
announced.
phone at it, or you just go to the description, click link down there. But again, Untold 10.
Untold 10.
Must use Untold 10.
Remember, Untold 10. Remember, must use Untold 10. Don't be a fool. Use Untold 10.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, who's not a fool and is from the UK?
Who?
John S. Shout out from Tunbridge Wells in the UK.
Where is that? Where is that?
It's.
I mean, there are places in the UK I've never heard of. There are places in LA I've never heard of. So,
by the way, I hate that he says in the UK, because now I don't know if it's Scotland or if it's England, because it really does kind of mess me up.
You're right.
It could be Wales.
Could be Wales. Yeah.
So,
I was just listening to a part of this new Dylan book where instead of playing Woodstock for like $12,000, he plays the Isle of Wight rock concert in the same summer. Instead of going to Woodstock for $10, he headlines the Isle of Wight for like $300,000, and he just says, I'm off to the UK. See you later, boys." And they all thought he was coming to play, and he had never had an intention of ever playing Woodstock. Because
he only lived there, right?
He
ironically speaking, he lived there, but he wouldn't play.
The sheriff was saying everybody showed up looking for him, and he was in Europe playing the Isle of Wight festival with the band, by the way, kind of interesting. And then he made a lot of money on it.
There you go. All right, bass player 2011 FI. Mark, I don't know why you stay in Cali.
What's it to you?
City council meetings. It's abundantly clear you're rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic.
Again, for the 900th time, you don't get it. I'm a reporter. I'm covering the complete destruction of a city. I'm not a guy with a wife and kids living in the suburbs, bro. This thing is the most fascinating revolution I've ever been a part of, and I was a part of a couple of them. This thing is just historic, what's happening here every week. And you'd have to drag me out by my cold, dead hands, you knuckleheads.
Knuckleheads. All right. Also from bass player 2011 FI. Sell the team, Bob. He could have been the outfield of dreams, and the Pirates would still be below 500.
Who is Bob? The owner of the Pirates?
I don't know.
He could have been. Could have had. Oh, well, he traded Barry Bonds. I guess that's what he was referring to. But he also avoided the scandal of the century with Bonds on steroids. So if that's what he's referring to, the Pirate ownership, maybe that's an obscure. That's an obscure statement, but it could be because I mentioned Dave Parker and the Bucks back then.
All right. Jack White. The videos were recorded by the actor himself, plus there are videos of the new guy and the new Lois actress interacting with kids and being very professional. And you missed Kathleen Kennedy.
Can you explain this to me?
I think he's talking about the new guy, Superman.
Yeah.
And that he recorded videos, I guess, talking about Star Wars or something.
Okay.
And I think Kathleen Kennedy is out. If that's what he said, I missed Kathleen Kennedy. I don't know. And then Jack White, again, that last chat about Star Wars, about the people who screwed over Star Wars, there's a picture of her with 3 other women. Oh, yeah. At some event, all wearing shirts that say the Force is female on them. That's true. The director, Kathleen Kennedy.
Okay.
The director of one of Disney's series, Star Wars series, was also wearing that, and then they made it a big point.
Okay.
She wasn't just wearing; she was literally saying that this is female. We're rewriting everything. We're redoing it. And if you watch the newer Star Wars, I don't know if you have.
No, I watched Star
Daisy
Wars in 30
Ridley
years.
is a Molly Sue character, which sadly, a lot of characters are Molly Sue's.
What does Molly Sue mean?
Molly Sue came out of Star Trek years ago, and it's a female that is smarter, faster, better, stronger than anybody around them. They always solve the problem. They kick everybody's ass. They do this. But they have no training, no anything. They just miraculously go in. And it was apparently a character named Molly Sue who could just do everything. And so they call it a Molly Sue.
Is that what happened with the Mandalorian with that character, the Gina?
Not really, because she just got fired because she said that the measures that were going on in 2020 were reminiscent of things that happened in the past, and hatred towards other people can cause bad things to happen.
Okay.
And so she got fired. Whereas Pedro Pascal said like the exact opposite thing, and everything was fine.
Oh, I see. Right, that's right. Good.
But she's not a Molly Sue character. But she
I'm asking you.
Is a UFC fighter.
No.
And
I was wondering what the deal was. But she was fired anyway.
Right. No, she was fired for things that were offline, and it was sad because she was a case of a female who is an actual badass.
That's why I'm mentioning it. I liked her character in that.
Oh no, she was great.
Yeah, I liked her.
But no, there's other ones. Like the CBS Star Wars had a Molly Sue character who was so obnoxious that I stopped watching it with the wife.
You stopped watching Star Wars?
I'm not Star Wars, Star Trek. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, I don't really care about it that much. But anyway, I
know
couldn't
a lot more than
tolerate
I
it.
do. That's for sure.
Let me see here. We've got K-Dog. Hated Biden's DOJ, but they knew the mission up to kicking in doors and shooting people. Current DOJ gives nothing but mouth diarrhea.
Well, they're starting to do stuff. I mean, they're
don't know.
more of a lawsuit group than they're starting to sue people. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Jack White, again, a major comics person, died recently to Jim Shooter. He was the former editor-in-chiefs of Marvel, and he created the Legion of Superheroes villains, the Fatal Five. He was 73.
Well, the Legion of Superheroes, as I remember, was a DC teen comic book about the teen superheroes. Am I wrong? Or the Legion of Superheroes? They were all teenagers in that.
Well, if he was Marvel, then that would.
Why would that be Marvel? Or maybe he moved over to Marvel.
Unless I get confused.
The Legion of Superheroes was one of my favorite DC comic books because Mon-El was in it, Superboy was in it, Crypto was in it. They were all teenagers. Bouncing Boy was in it. He was always getting kicked out of the Legion of Superheroes. Maybe he's referring to another Legion. Might be something else.
It could be. I mean,
They had a rocket ship for a clubhouse. It was one of the coolest Superman spin-offs.
well, they do have mirroring things. You know, like
Yeah, it could be a Marvel
had
version of
X-Men,
it.
and,
Yeah.
and the Superman has Justice League, or sorry, DC has Justice League, and you know,
Justice League of America. Yeah.
yeah, with Batman, Superman, blah 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 blah.
Aquaman,
Jenny's getting,
Flash.
huh?
I was
Flash,
mumbling
Wonder Woman.
Aquaman and Flash.
Yeah,
Wonder
Aquaman,
Woman.
yeah. Jenny's getting inky with it. Wonder if the Meta / TikTok suit is to do with the algorithms allowing these vids to go viral, thus influencing kids to do the same for views. I'm sure that's what
That's
they're
probably their thing. Yeah.
that's what
probably
they're trying to
saying.
do.
Yeah.
But technically, you know, most of the time you can replace the word algorithm with the word audience.
Mm-hmm.
And if something is popular and people click on it, the algorithm is going to recommend it to more people because it's like, oh, hey, look, people are hitting this. We're going to do that. So I don't know. There are times that they'll put they'll suppress certain things. And that might be the only thing that could get them in trouble. It's like, oh, you'll suppress all this stuff, but you let this garbage that's harming people get out there.
Interesting.
But that could be weak sauce. I don't
Right.
know. Jenny's getting inky with it. Again, the platform controlling the algorithm may make them publishers and thus not subject to Section 230. That's been the argument for a while about the publishing versus the platforming, because of making editorial decisions. So when they freeze Mark and I up, we'll squawk and give the argument that wait, you're acting as a publisher versus acting as a platform. In terms of the challenges, I don't know. And there's also some really dark stuff that is out there, like some strong anti-Semitic stuff that gets taken down.
Yeah. How about they put up a JFK Wikipedia thing on stuff we did about RFK? How about that insanity? What does one thing have to do with the other? They literally put up a whole episode about RFK and his assassination, and they're historically correcting us by putting up the Wikipedia Britannica, directing people to the Encyclopedia Britannica about another historic event. I mean, you have to laugh at this.
Yeah. Actually, we need to screenshot that and share it.
Screenshot that, bro, because that's a keeper. You know, it's like talking about Mussolini, and then it says something about Hitler.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to be
I've always taken, we have so many labels that have JFK labels on or whatever. I take it as a badge of honor.
Oh, Dev.
You know, it's like, oh, good. Okay, now we know it's legit because we're getting fact checked. Anthony Madison. Want to buy some Mandy's, Bob? Frank Zappa.
What is Mandy's? Like Mandrex or something? Or
I don't know. Okay.
Maybe you could tell it. Maybe the guy can come back with an explanation.
Let me see. Mike Schaefer. How about, can you do the job regarding Rep Gill? Yeah.
Oh,
when he was asking the professor.
Yeah. Well, who is he hiring? Is he was the DEI administrator at the school or
something? I forget.
Yeah, I mean, like, who is that guy actually in charge of hiring and where?
He probably taught DEI or something.
Right. He might work for a corporation. We don't know the backstory. He may have been the DEI guy at a company.
Could be. I mean, I don't know where he's grifting. Grandpa gifted 10 America's Untold Stories memberships. Thank you, Grandpa. I think that's the first time you gifted memberships, and I do appreciate it. Mark, like too.
I like it, I guess. If Eric likes it, I like it. I'll just vote along with Eric. I don't know what it is, but
and Sean Lucan also gifted memberships. So thank you very much, Sean. And let's see, Jack White. Let me see. Kathleen Kennedy is the head of Lucasfilm, and it's Mary Sue, and it's the idealized female character.
Okay. I think that's what Eric was saying.
I think I said Mary Sue.
Yeah. But you're saying there was a real Mary Sue at one point.
There is a Mary Sue character in Star Trek.
Okay.
I've never seen the original, but I looked it up because Mary Sue, and I try to look things up when I hear something said a lot of times. Jack White, J.J. Abrams, and Ryan Johnson are directors. Yes.
Of what?
Of Star Wars. And J.J. Abrams.
How did we get on this? How did we
Trek.
go down this road? I mean, what is going on here?
We did talk about summer movies. Dude.
Oh, summer movies, right? Okay, right.
Jack White again. Legion of Superheroes was the Justice of 31st Century, and Shooter did work for DC as well as Marvel. He started when he was 11, I think. Wow.
Legion of Superheroes was the Justice of 31st Century as a separate product, or
I don't know.
Well, Legion of Superheroes is DC. That's all I know. I don't know the Marvel universe that well. I know the DC universe much better.
And then again, same thing. Legion of Superheroes are the Justice League of the 31st Century is what I meant.
Oh, I see. Justice League of America. Well, those are adults. Yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Okay. Well, that good. That makes one of us.
Yeah, but they were teenagers, which I kind of liked in the Legion of Superheroes.
Back when you were a teenager? Or?
No, it was earlier than that. But nevertheless, it was the teenage. Well, there was a Superboy comic. I mean, obviously before that, but it was when they'd all get together as teenagers.
Was Robin in it too? Or?
I don't remember. Batman was in it. You had to have some. He couldn't have been in it because you had to have. And Jack White can check me on this. Obviously, Jack White knows all this crap.
Oh, yeah.
I believe that you had to have a superhero power to get in. And Bouncing Boy was continually kicked out because his only power was to turn into a ball, where he would demonstrate his power by bowling over criminals or some other crap. And he'd be in for a while, then they'd vote him out. So I don't think Batman and Robin
kept getting bounced out.
He kept getting bounced out of the Legion of Superheroes, and he was always reapplying for membership. I don't think Batman and Robin could ever been allowed into the Legion of Superheroes because they made a big contention about your superpower, and they had issues, editions where they tried new applicants, and it was kind of fun because the applicants did have a superpower, but it might be meaningless in terms of fighting crime, if that makes any sense. It had to be something that was worthwhile in superpower for good.
So you're talking about superpower snobs here.
Well, you could say that, but
Bouncing Boy, yeah, it's a superpower, man.
But that wasn't the only legitimate rule. It had to be something that was a superpower that could be used to fight evildoers. And he would jump on the bandwagon with them. And somehow I just remember him bowling over crooks or bad guys by turning into Bouncing Boy. And they would go, okay, well, all right, we'll let you back in, bro. And then he'd be in for a while, and then they'd vote him out. And it was like he'd get depressed and he'd start eating more, and the Bouncing Boy would get a little heavier. It was a sad state for Bouncing Boy. I never really understood what
was he your favorite character?
He was kind of like the sad sack character. Yeah, I kind of like Bouncing Boy quite a bit. I felt sorry for him. He had a superpower. And if I'm thinking back now, he was always wrestling with his superpower. Like, how can I use it to get back in to the Legion of Superheroes? Of course, I could just be making this whole thing up, misremembering it, but I think that's what I remember about Bouncing Boy. Is there a Bouncing Boy, or am I making this up?
I just literally just looked this up. Well, hold on.
I remember him looking blue, like he was a blue ball.
Yeah.
That's the only visual memory I have of Bouncing Boy. He would roll into a ball and then bounce. It doesn't look like any of those.
Well, maybe he's been redone.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure he's been reimagined. Yeah, absolutely. But that's not the Bouncing Boy I remember.
That's not your Bouncing Boy.
Well, it's not just me. I mean, the original Bouncing Boy. He kind of looks like no. That one inflated is probably the closest on the bottom middle, Eric.
Oh, this one looks like an older comic.
Okay. Yeah,
No, I'm
even
just
that
saying that-
doesn't look like it, but that's probably the closest. I always said you'd be quite a catch for any girl. You know what? That I would have to vote for that one.
It looks of the time.
Yeah, it looks like it's from the time.
The Silver Age.
I
of
just like
comics.
Superboy with Mon-El, his cousin, and Mon-El was allergic to lead, and the only thing that could shield him from lead was kryptonite, and that was what killed his cousin, who needed lead to shield him from kryptonite. So they put Mon-El in these precarious situations with Superboy, where they were both exposed to lead and kryptonite at the same time.
Okay.
If anybody remembers this, please just feel free to comment, because I could be imagining the entire thing.
Oh wow, Bouncing Boy's first appearance was 1961.
Okay, that's about when I was reading it. Yeah, that's about when I was in there.
Yep. All right. And
Yeah,
it is
that makes
DC
sense.
Comics.
Yeah, Legion of Superheroes. Yeah. Wow,
All right.
I'm not losing my mind.
No, apparently.
I remember things that do me absolutely no good. I mean, my long-term memory is completely intact. I can't remember what I had for breakfast.
I hear you.
Yeah,
who
I
are
mean,
you?
somehow this is taking up space in my memory RAM, plug, preventing new memories from coming in, because this thing, I'm stuck with Bouncing Boy, a memory I don't need.
All right, well, here we go. Jack White, Mary Sue came out of Star Trek fan fiction.
What is fan fiction?
That's when people write their own, imagine, they take the characters and then write their stories and then swap it back and forth.
Okay, well, that's weird. That's what I didn't
And
know
then
that
Jack
existed.
White, the team, the Justice League existed in the 20th/21st century, and the Legion of Superheroes was the massive superhero team of the 31st century.
I don't know what 31st century has to do with anything, or any of these centuries have to do with it. The Justice League of America,
Well,
there were
they-
different people in the Justice League of America than there were in Legion of Superheroes.
All right, well, I guess he's saying when they are. They've had storylines in DC where members of the Legion of Superheroes traveling back in time and
Okay, well,
interacting with the Justice League.
That's a little obscure. Okay, way to go on that one, Jack.
Well, when these comics have been around for 60 years,
Right, I mean, I don't.
they
that's just one-
always do. I mean, like
Yeah.
Superman's been killed and not killed and unkilled, and it's just very confusing.
There were two different comics. One was Justice League of America, and the other one was the Legion of Superheroes. Shake Your Booty, the Dylan parody. Okay.
Well, there it is. All right. We're going to head over to locals. And
wait a second. I got to tell you, tomorrow I've got this guy that you may want to see on the other channel, and Eric might have something too. But I got this friend of mine coming on, Steve Gibb, tomorrow, who's the son of Barry Gibb, and his story about being raised as the son of the Bee Gees, which is fascinating enough. But on top of that, he had some strange babysitters, and some of them did a moonwalk, and some of them were the impersonators of those who did a moonwalk. And he's going to talk about that and growing up in the #1 disco family in America, the Bee Gees, and staying alive during that time period, if that makes any sense. And that's tomorrow at, I guess, 6 o'clock Hunley time on YouTube.
Hunley time Eastern does. Yes.
Hunley Eastern time, 3 o'clock LA time. Steve Gibb.
All right. Thursday, I'll be dropping an interview with Lena Cisco. I've had her on before. She does a lot of body language training for Department of Defense, things like that. But she's coming out with a new book about the 13 power moves of dark psychology. And it's essentially about how to protect yourself from people, strong manipulators, narcissists, psychopaths, how to deal with them using their own language or using their own tools. So, folks, you might enjoy that. But that'll be Thursday at 5:30. And I think I've mentioned it before a few times, and I'll keep mentioning it. Essentially, every day, Tuesday through Friday, there's something that either Mark or myself will be doing or dropping, either together or separately, 4 days a week. So from 5:30 forward, there'll be something coming from us. Mark is at 6 on Wednesday, so he's got to throw it off a little bit. But 5:30 p.m. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, either here or on Eric Hunley, and then 6 p.m. Wednesday on What's Up with Lord Buckley. And for now, though, we're going to head over to locals and have more superhero discussions.
Okay, we'll talk about superheroes.